Hi, I'm Dave Roberts and this is Angling Escapades. Hi there, welcome to Angling Escapades once again on the River Wye, and we've come down this afternoon. We're going to have a go on just outside of Hereford on the wilder stretches, if you like. Last week we were on the Belmont stretch, which is the winter haunt for all the roach and dace. But the river, it's finally stopped raining, and as you can see, autumn day, it's 15-16 degrees. It's a glorious day, and the river's fine down now. It's stopped raining and the colour's starting to drop out a little bit. And I've come to a peg where, this is a brilliant chub and barbel peg when it goes really cold. A shoaler chub always lives here in the winter, but where we are here, we're on gravel bottom here, and it's only shallow. Normally you'd be sort of sat out here on a low river, but it's probably only 3 or 4 foot deep. But on this height, with this little bit of colour left in, I fancy there's a chance you can still catch some dace down here because it's not gone cold yet. Maybe a chance of an odd roach or something like that, but I'd expect to catch some chub as well, some smaller chub, and I've had it on here in the past where I've caught some bigger chub as well, fishing floats. So I really just fancy a bit of a day's sort of wild stick float fishing, if you like. So you don't know what you're going to catch next. I'd expect to catch plenty of dace really, but I hope we can get a few bigger fish amongst it as well. Maybe even a barbel if we were really lucky. But I could be fishing for barbel, fishing feeder tactics. It's just nice to come and do something different. So we'll set a couple of rigs up just to cover what I want to do really. Just give me a couple of options, and we'll see what we can catch. But I think we'll get some bites, and even if we don't, what a glorious day. Don't even talk to me about Christmas yet. I don't want to think about winter when it's like this. 15-16 degrees. It's fantastic. Come on. Okay, so I'm all set up now. I've just set up a couple of rigs just to cover me for what I want to do. I've plumbed up, and that's the depth. The depth I've got there is probably 4 foot, 4.5 foot. Okay, and what I've set up is a nice simple Avon float with a bulk. Okay, and then that's going to be a rig I use. I've got a reasonably big hook on there, and that's going to be a rig I use for fishing big baits, maybe some meat, bunches of maggots, and maybe for trying to target the bigger fish. And then I've got a nice simple stick float rig, 8 number 4s, and I've just got a string of number 8 shots from halfway down right the way through the rig. Probably my favourite shotting pattern, and that just gives me lots of control. It's only shallow water, so I don't need lots of weight down really, and that should just run through nicely at the pace of the current. I can slow it down occasionally and move that hook bait about, but that's just nice simple setup, nothing too complicated. Size 14 hook on there. Got fairly robust gear. I expect anything I encounter shouldn't be too small today, so that's my setup. I'm not going to compromise on lines. Bait wise, I've got plenty of maggot. I've got about 5 pints of maggots. These are a mixture really. I've got some old bait that I've had for about 2 weeks, which I've just been keeping fresh, keeping riddled and keeping cold. And then I've got some hemp, just a tin of hemp. Hemp, I like to keep tins of hemp because for impromptu sessions when I just pop out for a couple of hours, there's no preparation involved. It's just a case of opening the tin and you're ready to go, and that's good hemp. Plenty of juice in there as well if I want to add it to ground bait, things like that. And then aside from that, all I've got then is just some 10mm chunks of luncheon meat, which I might not feed to start with, but I might start flicking an odd piece in, and if I'm getting lots of small fish, and I feel like there might be some bigger fish around. I can always slip a piece of that on and maybe try and target some bigger fish. So that'll be the plan. But my plan to start with is all I'm going to do is feed some hemp and maggots. And I usually start off, you know, in this sort of coloured water, and this time of year it's not too cold, so I feel like I can attack a bit. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to feed probably about 1/4 pint of hemp to start with, big pouchfuls, out in the flow. The depth here is, you know, it doesn't drop off quickly. It's pretty much off the bank. It slopes away a little bit, and then it's fairly steady until you get over to the far side of the river. So there's no the line you fish, you know, you can fish a comfortable line, and if the river was up a bit further I could fish right off the rod tip really, but today there's no need. So I'm putting my hemp downstream because obviously it's only shallow, so I want that hemp to land in a spot where, you know, hopefully will be a catching zone where the fish will settle, but it's no point in putting it too high above me, because that zone would be there and my rig wouldn't be working as it passed over it. So I'm feeding the hemp because the hemp is obviously heavier than the maggots, and I'm feeding that downstream. So probably about 1/4 pint, just putting a nice bed of bait down really, so that'll get, hopefully, if any bigger fish move in, it will hold them in the peg a little bit longer. And I intend to be feeding hemp regularly anyway. It's just creating, for me it's all about creating a nice little hot spot. So there we go, that's probably about 1/4 pint I've put in there. And then my maggots will be simply, I'm just going to put these slightly above me. Too shy with them because I want to get this bait moving. The river's still quite big, and none of these maggots will be landing on the bottom, so for me it's just keeping bait going in. And I'll feed a little bit down as well. What I do is I tend to feed a line, you know, a few maggots just down the peg a bit closer in, and then if I strike and the float moves offline, I can let it run again, knowing that it's going down to an area where there might be some bait. And sometimes these fish in coloured conditions will creep up the bank as well. So it's all about just giving yourself an area. Again, if I talk about columns of bait, that's a column of bait going down over where that hemp has hopefully settled, and an area where we can really target the fish. The only problem I might have today is this sun, because it's when there's a ripple on the water, and the wind is kind at the moment, you know, it's coming upstream a little bit, so but it's putting a ripple on the water. It just makes it a bit tricky to see, so I'm going to have my glasses on and a hat just to make sure I can see the float well. There we go. Stop me squinting too much. These early stages for me, it's just about keep running through, keep looking for any signs of anything happening, I check my hook bait every time it comes back to see if it's been nipped or any markings on it. You're just looking for any indication of a fish. Like I say, these fish could well, you know, they're probably not here to start with, they're probably spread out, and you know, they're not up on this shallow water, they're probably in the deeper water, but with the colour of the river at the moment, I'd expect them to maybe move up. Onto the feed, you know, but that could take up to an hour, so it could take longer. It was a cold day, but I feel with it being warm we will get bites. It's just a case of getting that flow of bait going in, columns of bait. Sure, once we get one bite we'll get plenty more. Float keeps dragging under, I'm just tripping bottom, and that's the way I want it at the moment. I don't see any need to come off bottom or anything like that. Maybe later if we get some fish arriving, but for now I just like tripping the bottom. I know I'm just searching the peg out. I'm not putting too much hemp in at the moment. I'm just getting maggots in because I know they'll flow and they'll search. You know, they won't be hitting the bottom, and they'll keep searching these fish out. So I've got a bed of hemp down there. I put about 1/4 pint in at the start. I know there's hemp there on the bottom. At the moment I just want the maggots to get a column of bait going in and hopefully find a few fish and draw those fish back to that hemp, and then once I start getting a few bites, and I can put some more hemp in then and really try and control where the fish are in the peg. There's a bite. What we got here? Dace, I reckon. There we go. That for a cracking dace. Big old dace. That's what I mean. At this time of year, if there's dace here, there'll be big dace. All the little ones have gone up into the town and they're with the other fish, but the ones that are left down here are decent dace. So there we go. So we're going to start now. I know there's dace here, so what I'll do now is I'll put some hemp in again now. Get them used to that, and that will help pin them hopefully in one spot. Still keeping the maggots going in as regularly. It's great fishing. Fishing on this shallow water is so enjoyable because you know you can stop your bait and slow your bait right over where you know exactly where that hemp is hitting the bottom. Oh, there we go. Another one. Decent dace, I think. Good job, that one. Beautiful little chublet. This year the river seems to be full of these. So you can see already the fish that we're going to catch, they're good quality fish. Don't have to worry about getting bleaked out or anything like that. Until it goes cold here now, these fish will be of a decent stamp. So, same again. Hemp, downstream, maggots, upstream. Look at that little stunner. chub. Look at that. No bait in it. On stick float. Fish are about £1.75, £2. Fourth fish today, so here we're on for a good day. Okay, so got a brilliant afternoon catching lots of different species on stick float, fish of all sizes. Well, one big chub, had loads of like 2-pounders and 1-pounders and big roach, but I'm going to get a bit greedy now. I've been knocking in a few pieces of meat as I've been feeding, so I'm going to really target them now. I haven't picked up this Avon rig all afternoon, but I'm gonna fish it now with a piece of meat and treadle it through and see if I can really target any bigger fish that are there. See if we can finish in style. Sun's starting to go down now, so I'll just keep feeding the same hemp maggot, but I'll knock a few pieces of meat in as well. Let's see if we can't just pull off the perfect ending. Oh, here we go. I wasn't quite expecting a response that quick. Actually not a massive fish, but certainly the meat has picked out a decent fish. I love it when a plan comes together. Yeah, that's probably the Second biggest job I've had today. About 2.5. What a beautiful fish, and what a Look at that for a chub. That is huge. That's a 6-pound chub, that is. And what an incredible way to end up, I think. Hope you've enjoyed this video. Hope you've been inspired to get out and fish stick floats. Don't forget to subscribe. We'll keep these videos coming, keep them interesting. If you're inspired and you fancy a day on the river with myself, then just get in touch and we'll see you next time.